blues and I'm busted.
Classic lick of Ray Charles there to bring us in here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Carl Goldman here. We're chatting with Lou Esbin, the debt doctor, talking about bankruptcy, talking about financial things. The Stockton discussion we just had just in the news. Fascinating, but as we discussed a few minutes ago, Lou is one of just a handful, 120 out of the 270,000 lawyers here in California. There are only 120 who are certified bankruptcy specialists. Lou is one of them. Check him out at esbinlaw.com, ESBIN law.com. What we're going to do right now is, and through the rest of this hour, is talk about the 10 myths about bankruptcy, kind of bankruptcy 101 for all of us to get an understanding of this and how it can impact us, whether we're faced with it at the moment as you're driving around listening. You certainly know someone right now who's feeling some financial strain, and bankruptcy, as we've learned before with Lou, isn't necessarily the best choice all the time. And you certainly, you consult with a lot of people, you are not sending everyone down the bankruptcy road.
No, there's a complete financial analysis that's done, and not everybody's a bankruptcy candidate. You know, there's workouts, there's you can restructure the debt, you can try to pay off a discounted amount of the debt, and sometimes it's just a matter of instructing people on how to manage the debt better.
And I'll give the one plug right now, and that is if you're losing sleep right now over finances, call Lou or call some other specialist out there and at least talk it through with them. I know it's a hard step for most people, but just talking it through and getting an idea of what your options are is the important thing.
Yeah, what I tell people is that first sleepless night, that morning, I should be getting a call. Because just because you come to see me doesn't mean we're going to be doing anything, but at least I'm going to give you the information you need so that you can kick back and figure out what you need to do going forward.
Terrific. Let's go down this list right now. So we're going down the top 10 bankruptcy myths. Number 1, I will lose my car, my home, my personal items.
Well, it depends. Typically, all real and personal property is disclosed in a bankruptcy filing. If you want to keep your home, you want to keep your cars, typically what we tell people is you have to keep paying on them. Okay, if you enter into a Chapter 7, for example, bankruptcy, and you're behind on your house, that's not the place for you to try to restructure and reorganize those arrears. But if you're in a Chapter 13 or in a Chapter 11, which are reorganizations, hey, you can use that process and a plan to repay the arrears, and you can keep your house. Today, you have to reaffirm debt on cars, or you can enter into a redemption agreement to keep your cars, but you can typically keep that stuff. We threw the British out, and they haven't been back since.
What personal items can you also protect?
There are exemptions, so household furniture and furnishings and clothing and jewelry up to a certain amount. So it's just a matter of valuing your property and disclosing everything that you have. The worst thing you can do is not disclose.
What happens in those gray areas? So let's say there's a piece of art that has some value to it, but also has incredible sentimental connection, or you've been left a set of silver by your great-grandmother that's been handed down for generations. Do you get to keep those? Can you protect those?
Well, personal property under California laws is really exempt pretty much to its fullest extent. But if you have collectibles, I remember walking into an open house and there was an entire collection of Remington bronze statues. You're not going to keep those. Okay.
What if the Remington was handed down by...
No, it doesn't matter where it comes from.
So your Grand Funk LPs could be in trouble.
Yes. Or my collection of Grateful Dead albums.
Yeah, so the Grateful Dead albums could be... So that you can't protect those.
Well, how much is the vinyl worth? I mean, if you have things of value, then it takes a little bit more creativity and knowledge of how the law works to try to fit them into a structure so that you can keep as much as you can.
Got it. But that's also part of the consultation and figuring it out.
That's
and
correct.
Seeing what you can take or not take,
right,
and what you can protect or not protect. Good. Number 2 on the top 10 bankruptcy myths, I will not have credit for 10 years. That's a real issue. Huh?
That's a real issue. I mean, I can't tell you. Every person who comes into my office, one of the top questions they ask is, when am I going to get my credit back? And my off the cuff response is, credit is what got you here, and so it's not the first thing that you're going to want to get back. And in a book that I wrote in 2006 that was for lawyers on how to practice bankruptcy, in the introduction, we said that the credit issuers, credit card companies, were similar to drug dealers, and that they wait outside the gates of rehab for people to come out of bankruptcy just to give them credit all over again. And they do. People get credit card offers in the mail right after filing. Bankruptcy remains under credit for 10 years. If you continue paying on your house, you can continue paying on your car, you maintain those obligations, your credit will come back. But you have to be responsible for credit.
Now, under the current real estate crisis,
right,
the short sale isn't on for that amount of time, right? Under the federal laws now have given some relief, I think, on short sales.
I think short sales more or less has to do with Fannie and Freddie, and when they look at a short sale borrower again. And I think it's a 2-year period. I'm not sure that has to do with how it's reported on credit. I think it's just how they view it. When someone comes in the next time to buy a house.
Got it. So it's probably just the 2-year window now to go back and buy another house.
And when it comes to credit, people really need to be proactive about their credit reports. They're inherently inaccurate. Okay, little tidbit, you're entitled to a free credit report once a year, but there are 3 reporting agencies. So once every 3 months, get 1 report, you get 4 a year.
You get to have 4 free ones a year. Got it. Good tip. Myth number 3 for bankruptcy. I have to go to court to file bankruptcy.
Well, a bankruptcy is filed in a federal court. Okay, so if you're living up in Santa Clarita, the courts that will hear your case will be in downtown Los Angeles. It used to be Woodland Hills. They changed them to downtown Los Angeles. An individual going to court, really what they do is they go to a meeting of creditors. A meeting of creditors does not take place before a judge. It takes place before a trustee. And most people never actually see the person with the black robe on. Okay?
Good. AM 1220 KHTS. We're talking with Lou Esbin, the debt doctor, here on your hometown station, going down the top 10 bankruptcy myths. Myth number 4, creditors will arrest me.
Creditors will arrest you. No. We did away with debtors' prisons pretty much with the enactment of the Constitution. And we have not had debtors' prisons in this country since. So, no, creditors will not arrest you if you don't pay your taxes. The IRS could have you arrested for tax evasion, but will someone from your American Express come and arrest you? No.
And creditors theoretically can't come at you at all. Anything that's in bankruptcy, put in bankruptcy, is protected.
With the filing of a bankruptcy, gives rise to an automatic stay, and the automatic stay prevents the collection or enforcement of debt while the person is in bankruptcy.
Myth number 5, I am not allowed to have a bank account.
That's a tricky question. You are allowed to have a bank account. You're allowed to have some money in your bank account when you file. Of course, we would exempt those monies from the claims of creditors. But the big problem with bank accounts is if you get into check systems, it is much more difficult, even with a bankruptcy filing, to get a person off of check systems. And we've developed a process to do that, but that's really tricky. So that if you're
what do you mean by check systems?
Check systems is just like you have the 3 credit reporting bureaus, there is a reporting service called Check Systems, and there are others, Telecheck, etc., that the banks subscribe to. And so if you're a person who has bounced checks and you've not made good on them, the bank may report you to Check Systems. All the banks subscribe to it. And if you go to open up a new bank account, most of them will not allow you to open a new bank account.
AM 1220 KHTS, chatting with Lou Esbin, the debt doctor, back with the other 5 myths of bankruptcy right after this.